Spring is springing here in the Pacific Northwest and plants are starting to wake up, including my musa basjoo banana plants. Now, depending on the techniques you use to overwinter your bananas, once the threat of frost is over, it's time to start waking them up if they haven't started already. The way you're going to do that is dependent upon the technique that you used to overwinter them. For me, we've been having high temperatures around 60 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's about 15.5 degrees Celsius. And the musa basjoos have already started growing. You can see some of these have grown as much as a foot already, and it's still 2 days before April. Now this year I chose to not wrap any of the bananas, similar to how I did last year. We saw an absolute low of 20 Fahrenheit this winter, which is about -10°C. And only about a dozen days below freezing, so relatively mild for my area. At this point, I'm just cleaning them all up, removing the dead leaves from last year that have served as a blanket for the stems over the winter. Now, this really only works in areas that have more mild winters. Doesn't even always work here. Last winter, I had all of my musa basjoos fall over. They were uncovered, and I had to cut them all to the ground. But when we do get a mild winter, the dead leaves are enough to add a bit to keep the stems from taking a ton of damage. Now, when yours start growing, it's helpful to cut the dried tips off of the new leaves. The plant can do okay without your help, but by cutting off the dead part, you make it easier for the leaves to open up and get the plant back to growing. If there aren't any leaves growing out of the top yet, cut the stem down until you find a hard center. It could be green or white. As long as it's hard, that's far enough. Remember, you can always cut off more, but you can't cut off less. So be conservative when you're cutting the tops, looking for good tissue. Sometimes you will find a plant that is completely rotted out. There's not much you can do here other than kiss it goodbye. Look at the size of that roly-poly. That's huge. This musa basjoo in the back here survived with no protection, and it's even in a pot. Now, this is an example of the power of microclimates that you can create in your yard. The hot tub here provides some protection and gives off enough heat that the bananas in the pot survive 20 degrees Fahrenheit, -10°C with no extra protection, and now they're back to growing just fine. Over the coming weeks, I'll start moving my bananas and other plants that spend the winter indoors back outside, and I'll be doing quite a bit of transplanting this year as well, moving plants around the yard and moving some of the plants to my other property. I will do a full list of what lived and what died in the coming weeks after it's gotten a bit warmer, and I know for certain what's dead and what isn't. Thanks for watching. Happy growing.